The principal's words hung in the air like poison. "Mr. Davidson, your daughter's appearance is unacceptable. Perhaps if she had a mother figure at home, we wouldn't be having this conversation." 27 pairs of eyes turned to stare at Jack Davidson, standing alone in the school hallway, his daughter's hand clutched tightly in his. But it was the 28th pair of eyes, belonging to Ms. Elena Winters, the new fourth-grade teacher, that flashed with something unexpected: fury. If you've ever felt judged for your parenting or stood alone against an unfair system, this story will resonate deep in your soul. Like, subscribe, and join our community of supporters who believe in standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Jack Davidson never expected to be a single father. 3 years ago, his wife Melissa had kissed 4-year-old Lily goodbye before heading to work, promising to be home for dinner. She never made it. A distracted driver, a rainy intersection, and Jack's world shattered in an instant. Since then, he'd been doing everything possible to give Lily a normal life, though normal felt like a distant memory. Jack worked as a mechanic at Davidson Auto, the small garage his father had started decades ago. His hours were long, his hands perpetually stained with grease no matter how much he scrubbed them, but the flexible schedule allowed him to drop Lily off at school and pick her up most days. His mother helped when she could, but her arthritis was getting worse, limiting how much she could do with an energetic 7-year-old. That morning had been particularly chaotic. Lily had woken up with her curly brown hair in knots after forgetting to braid it the night before. Jack had tried his best, watching YouTube tutorials on his phone, while Lily squirmed impatiently in the bathroom chair. The result was functional: 2 uneven pigtails that listed slightly to the left, secured with the only hair ties he could find, bright orange ones from Halloween. Her uniform was clean but wrinkled, having been forgotten in the dryer overnight. "We match, Daddy," Lily had said cheerfully, pointing to his own wrinkled shirt. Her smile, so much like her mother's, made the morning rush worth it. But Principal Harriet Blackwood didn't see the love behind the messy pigtails. She saw a child who didn't meet Westbrook Elementary's exacting standards. Westbrook was the best public school in the district, with test scores that rivaled the expensive private academies across town. Jack had moved to this neighborhood specifically for the school, stretching his budget to the breaking point for a small 2-bedroom apartment. "Mr. Davidson," Principal Blackwood said, her voice carrying down the hallway as she intercepted, "I'm on the way to Lily's classroom. A word, please." Jack recognized the tone. It was the same one she'd used at the parent-teacher conference last month, when she'd suggested that perhaps Lily would benefit from more structure at home, as if he wasn't trying his hardest. "Lily's appearance is unacceptable for Westbrook standards," she said, gesturing to the child's uneven hair and wrinkled uniform. "This is the 3rd time this month. We have a reputation to maintain." Jack felt his face flush with embarrassment. "We had a rough morning. I did my best with her hair." "Clearly your best isn't sufficient," Principal Blackwood interrupted. "Perhaps if she had a mother figure at home, we wouldn't be having this conversation." The words hit Jack like a physical blow. He felt Lily's small hand tighten in his, and when he glanced down he saw her bottom lip trembling. She might not fully understand the principal's implication, but she recognized the tone, the judgment. "That's completely inappropriate," Jack managed, his voice low to keep from shouting. "My daughter is clean, dressed, fed, and ready to learn. Her hair doesn't affect her education." Principal Blackwood's lips thinned. "Appearance is part of discipline, Mr. Davidson, and discipline is fundamental to education. I'm sending Lily to the office until you can return with appropriate hair accessories and a properly pressed uniform. We can't have her disrupting the classroom environment." Jack was about to argue further when another voice cut through the tension. "That won't be necessary, Principal Blackwood. Elena Winters had been teaching at Westbrook Elementary for exactly 3 weeks. At 32, she'd left a prestigious private school position to work in the public school system, believing all children deserved excellent education regardless of their background. She'd noticed Lily Davidson immediately, not because of her occasionally disheveled appearance, but because of her bright mind and the way she looked out for other students. Elena stepped forward, her dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, her clothes professional but comfortable. "Lily can come with me to class now. I have extra hair ties in my desk, and a quick spritz of water will take care of those wrinkles. Principal Blackwood turned, clearly surprised by the interruption. Ms. Winters, this is an administrative matter. With all due respect, Elena continued, her voice pleasant but firm, sending a child to the office for minor uniform infractions violates our own school policy, which states that students should only be removed from class for disruptive behavior or safety concerns. She smiled at Lily. And I happen to think those orange hair ties are perfect for our fall science project today. Jack watched in amazement as this teacher he barely knew stood her ground against the formidable principal. Elena Winters wasn't tall. In fact, she was rather petite, but in that moment she seemed to tower with quiet authority. Principal Blackwood's face tightened. Ms. Winters, you're still new here. Perhaps you don't understand how we do things at Westbrook. I understand educational best practices and child development, Elena replied evenly. And I understand that humiliating a child or parent over appearance doesn't serve our educational mission. She held out her hand to Lily. Ready for class, Lily? We're starting with fractions today, and I know how much you love math. Lily looked up at her father, uncertain. Jack gave her hand a gentle squeeze before letting go. Go ahead, sweetheart. I'll see you after school. As Lily took Miss Winters' hand, the teacher gave Jack a reassuring nod. She'll be fine, Mr. Davidson. Have a good day. Principal Blackwood wasn't finished. This conversation isn't over, Miss Winters. And Mr. Davidson, I'll be calling you later about Lily's continued attendance at Westbrook. The threat hung in the air as Jack watched his daughter walk away with the teacher who had just risked her own position to defend them. He felt simultaneously grateful and terrified. Westbrook was Lily's best chance at a good education, but at what cost to her self-esteem? In the classroom, Elena quickly helped Lily settle in, discreetly fixing her pigtails while the other children worked on their morning assignments. I like your hair ties, she said quietly. Orange is my favorite color. Really? Lily asked, her earlier distress fading. Daddy says orange is the color of brave people. Elena smiled. Your daddy sounds very wise. Throughout the day, Elena kept a protective eye on Lily, noticing how the girl threw herself into her schoolwork with determination beyond her years. During recess, she observed Lily playing with a small group of friends, her uneven pigtails bouncing as she ran. There was nothing about this child that deserved humiliation. After school, Elena stayed late, researching school policies and preparing for what she knew would be a difficult conversation. She wasn't surprised when Principal Blackwood summoned her to the office the next morning before classes began. Your behavior yesterday was unprofessional and insubordinate, the principal began without preamble. At Westbrook, we maintain standards. Those standards have made us the top-performing school in the district. Elena sat calmly, her hands folded in her lap. I believe our test scores come from excellent teaching and engaged students, not from hairstyles or perfectly pressed uniforms. You undermined my authority in front of a parent and student. I prevented a child from being unnecessarily removed from educational instruction, Elena countered. And I prevented a working parent from being forced to leave his job to address a non-issue. Principal Blackwood's eyes narrowed. Mr. Davidson needs to understand that his situation doesn't exempt him from school requirements. Single parent or not, rules apply to everyone. The rules should make sense, Principal Blackwood, and they should be applied with compassion. Elena leaned forward slightly. Did you know that Mr. Davidson moved to this district specifically for Lily to attend Westbrook? That he works extra hours to afford the rent? That Lily's mother died 3 years ago? The principal's expression didn't change. Personal circumstances don't change school policy. Maybe they should, Elena said quietly. Maybe we should remember that we're educating children, not running a military academy. This attitude is precisely why you may not be a good fit for Westbrook, Miss Winters. I'll be documenting this insubordination in your file. Elena had expected this. Before you do, you might want to review the district's anti-discrimination policies. Targeting a single father and suggesting his daughter's appearance would be better if she had a mother figure could be interpreted as discrimination based on family status. Principal Blackwood's face flushed. Are you threatening me? I'm suggesting we all focus on what really matters, the children's education and well-being. Elena stood. If you'll excuse me, I need to prepare for my class. As she left the office, Elena knew she had made an enemy, but she couldn't regret standing up for Lily and her father. Some principles were worth fighting for. Jack Davidson spent the day distracted, dropping tools and mixing up customer orders. The principal hadn't called yet, but her threat loomed large in his mind. Westbrook was the best school in the area, and Lily was thriving academically, despite the occasional friction about her appearance. If she had to change schools, it would mean new teachers, new friends, and possibly a lower quality education. When he picked Lily up that afternoon, she ran to him with a bright smile. "Daddy, Miss Winters said my science project was the best in the class. And look!" She pointed to her hair, now neatly braided with her orange Halloween ties incorporated into a surprisingly stylish pattern. "Wow, that looks amazing, Lil," Jack said, genuinely impressed. "Did Miss Winters do that? She taught me how. She said if I practice, I can do it myself." Lily bounced on her toes, "And she wants to talk to you." Jack's stomach tightened. Had the principal pressured Miss Winters to side with her after all? He spotted the teacher by the classroom door, watching them with a small smile. Taking a deep breath, he walked over with Lily. "Mr. Davidson," Elena greeted him warmly. "Do you have a few minutes to chat?" "Of course," he said, trying to hide his apprehension. "And please call me Jack. Lily, would you mind showing Miss Garcia your science project while I talk to your dad?" Elena asked, gesturing to the teaching assistant who was organizing art supplies nearby. Once Lily was happily engaged across the room, Elena turned to Jack. "I wanted to apologize for what happened yesterday," she began. Jack shook his head. "You have nothing to apologize for. You stood up for us when you didn't have to. I should be thanking you. No child should be shamed for something so trivial," Elena said firmly. "But I wanted you to know that Principal Blackwood may continue to be difficult. She and I had a conversation this morning, and while I hope it made an impact, I'm not counting on it." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "I'm worried she'll find a reason to force Lily out. This school means everything to us. I work so hard to keep us in this district." "I know," Elena said gently. "Lily talks about you all the time, about how you work on big machines, and how you make the best pancakes, and how you always check under her bed for monsters." Jack felt his throat tighten with unexpected emotion. "She's everything to me. That's abundantly clear," Elena assured him, "which is why I wanted to offer some help, if you'll accept it." "Help?" Elena reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. "This is information about the Parent-Teacher Association. They're looking for more parent involvement, and having a voice there could help protect Lily's place at Westbrook. I've also included some resources that might be useful. After-school programs with sliding scale fees. A weekend workshop where kids can learn practical skills like hair braiding and basic sewing, and..." She hesitated. "A support group for single parents in the district." Jack stared at the folder, overwhelmed by this unexpected lifeline. "Why are you doing this?" Elena's expression softened. "Because teaching isn't just about academics. It's about supporting the whole child, which sometimes means supporting their family too." She glanced over at Lily, who was enthusiastically explaining her project to the teaching assistant. "And because Lily is a remarkable child who deserves every opportunity." "Thank you," Jack said simply, the words inadequate for his gratitude. "One more thing," Elena added. "I'm starting a morning homework club 3 days a week. It's before school so students can get help with assignments, or just have a quiet place to work. Lily mentioned mornings can be rushed at your house, so she's welcome to join. It might take some pressure off both of you." Jack felt something he hadn't experienced in a long time, the sensation of not carrying his burdens entirely alone. That would be amazing. As the weeks passed, Jack became more involved with the school, joining the PTA as Elena had suggested. He discovered that many parents struggled with the school's rigid expectations, though few had faced the direct criticism he had. Together they began advocating for more reasonable policies. Lily flourished in Miss Winters' class, her confidence growing as she mastered new skills both academic and practical. The morning homework club became a highlight of her day, and Jack found their home routines less stressful knowing Lily had that additional support. Principal Blackwood remained cool toward both Jack and Elena, but with Jack's increasing involvement in school activities and Elena's careful documentation of all interactions, the principal's ability to target them diminished. Other teachers began to take notice of Elena's approach, some quietly adopting her more compassionate methods. One evening in late October, Jack was helping with the school's fall festival, setting up game booths in the gymnasium. Elena was coordinating the event, moving efficiently between parent volunteers with her clipboard and endless patience. "You've changed things around here," Jack commented as they worked side by side, hanging paper lanterns. "Not just for Lily and me, but for a lot of families." Elena smiled, passing him another lantern. Change was needed. Schools should lift families up, not tear them down. Still, it took courage to stand up to Blackwood, especially as a new teacher. "Some things are worth the risk," she said simply. Jack studied her for a moment. "Lily asked me something interesting yesterday. She wanted to know if teachers and parents are allowed to be friends outside of school." Elena's hand stilled on the decorations. "Did she? And what did you tell her?" "I told her I didn't know, but I'd like to find out." Jack took a deep breath. "Would you like to have coffee sometime? Not to discuss Lily or school, just coffee." Elena's smile widened. "I'd like that very much." 6 months later, the atmosphere at Westbrook Elementary had shifted noticeably. The PTA, with Jack now serving as vice president, had successfully advocated for more inclusive policies. Principal Blackwood, facing pressure from both parents and the school board, had reluctantly implemented changes to the dress code and discipline procedures. Lily continued to thrive, her academic achievements matched by her growing confidence. She still occasionally came to school with creative hairstyles, some done by her father, who had become surprisingly skilled with hair ties and braids, and some she proudly did herself. On a warm spring afternoon, Jack waited outside the school, leaning against his truck. When Lily burst through the doors, she was accompanied by Miss Winters, Elena, who carried a large science project display board. "Dad, we won first place!" Lily called, racing toward him with a blue ribbon clutched in her hand. "That's amazing, Lil!" Jack swept her up in a hug before taking the display board from Elena. "Thanks for helping her with this." "She did all the work," Elena said proudly. "I just provided the glue sticks." As Jack loaded the project into his truck, Lily tugged on Elena's hand. "Are you still coming over for dinner tonight? Dad's making his famous spaghetti." Elena glanced at Jack, who nodded with a smile. "I wouldn't miss it," she assured Lily. Later that evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Jack and Elena sat on the small balcony of his apartment, mugs of tea warming their hands against the spring chill. "I got some news today," Elena said quietly. "Principal Blackwood is retiring at the end of the school year." Jack raised his eyebrows. "Retiring or retiring?" Elena laughed softly. "A bit of both, I think. The district has been monitoring the changes at West."